Hey there, it's Diane Forster. Welcome to I Have Today, where we talk about the art of intentional living. This show is about inspiring, empowering, and educating you through life's transitions. And I am your host. So grateful to be here. We've had 3 weeks off, so I'm so excited to be back in the studio. And I have a fabulous guest with me today. Her name is Dr. Pauline Crawford, PhD in Entreprenology. She is the founder and chief vision officer of Corporate Heart International and many other things. Her clients call her the conversation game changer. I have more exciting things to share about her in just a few minutes. You're going to love this conversation. So make sure that you stick around today. Stay till the end because we've got a very special mantra meditation that we're doing at the end of this episode. And you're going to be inspired, empowered, and educated today, my friends. That's my promise to you. So, I only bring on the most amazing people. So, well, if you're catching us for the first time, I want to say thank you so much for being here. We are streaming live right now on the E360 TV network. We're also on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Twitter. And we take this TV show and we also upload it to my podcast, which is available on all streaming platforms. So if you're not following me, there's plenty of ways for you to follow me and catch this show on your preferred device. So make sure to do that. And we are getting ready we're halfway through the summer here in the United States, and it is flying by. Time just seems to be flying by, doesn't it? That's why we call this show, the show and our brand, I Have Today. It's about really being present and making the most out of your life. And what we do here collectively, me and the team, is, we want to give you things that you can use in your life that are instant actionable items, keys, tips, tricks, ways to improve your life right here, right now. And today, my guest is going to talk about the power of conversations and how she got into this work and how you actually can have magical conversations. She's a conversation strategist and a gender dynamics intelligence expert. Oh my God, that's a mouthful for me. Among so many other things. She's so accomplished. She's so beautiful. And I really wanted to have her on the show today because it's beyond conflict resolution. It's about, equality. It's about fairness. It's about effective communication. But beyond that, being able to really have conversations that don't invoke negative emotions, such as anger or judgment or manipulation or any of that. So stick around for this today. So what we do every week on the show is we share an intention statement with you. And an intention statement is like an affirmation. And the intention statement this week is I have today to have better, more magical conversations. I have today to have better, more magical conversations. And when I say that to you, I mean that in all areas of your life, in business, in family, in relationships, in friendships, in every area of your life, between genders, you name it, how to have more magical conversations. So what we do every week here is my team makes a beautiful graphic with our intention statement. There it is. It's on the screen right now. I have today to have better, more magical conversations. And where you can find this is on my Instagram page at Diane Forster Official. If you hop over there, go to my page, give me a follow while you're there. And there's a little button and it's called intention. I think it's called intention statements now. It used to be called wallpapers, but it's one of those two buttons. And this is already uploaded there. But what I want you to do with it is I want you to take a screenshot of it and use it as your screensaver, so that every time you look at your phone, hundreds of times a day, literally, I'm not kidding, you see it. And when you see it, it starts to get ingrained into the subconscious. And that's how you start to develop new patterns and habits. It's through that repetition. because the subconscious is just a database and it's reprogrammable and it will believe what we tell it. So if this is something that means something to you and you want to have more magical conversations in your life, more peace, more joy, more fulfillment, definitely this is something that you want to do. So we're getting ready to bring in Dr. Pauline Crawford in just a minute, but let's hear a word from our sponsor, the Spifter. This week's episode of I Have Today is brought to you by the Spifter. The Spifter is a fun sifting spoon that makes cooking, baking, and decorating with sugars and spices so much fun. No more mess or wasting your spices. It's fast, clean, and easy. Everything looks and tastes delicious. It's also great for straining loose tea, getting pesky broken cork out of your wine glass, and draining liquid off food like olives and capers. Whether you're a novice cook or a gourmet chef, you'll love the results. The Spifter, the kitchen gadget that no kitchen should be without. Well, hello, Dr. Pauline Crawford. You are on mute, so you need to unmute yourself. Welcome. Up. Still muted. There we go.
I'm so excited to be here, Diane.
Well, it's my honor and privilege to have you. So accomplished and such a light and a delight. And the work that you're doing in this world is so impactful. So I definitely wanted to share you with our audience. So let me just share a little bit more about you before we get into our conversation. So again, Dr. Pauline Crawford is the founder and chief vision officer of Corporate Heart International, president of the Rotary Club of Global Impact, and program director for the International University of Entreprenology. I can't wait to talk about that. She's known by her clients as the conversation game changer, as her strategic approach to leadership, performance, and communication enables leaders to harmonize differences and deal with diversity and behavioral challenges between women and men with a navigation map that uniquely embraces us all. Her mission and passion are to engage people in knowing their natural archetypal style as a man or a woman and understand the differences that can block, hinder, or hurt us, sometimes causing us needless damage. Her vision is that all women value the power within them to converse with men in authentic harmony, and we co-create a joint custody world of fairness and equal opportunity. Wow. Wow. So happy to have you here. So, all right. Well, my first question is, tell us a little bit about your background story, a little bit about your upbringing and how you got into this work.
I would love to. And I have to say, Diane, this is such a wonderful, magical experience. And I just love the intention for today because my life has been very magical. But I started my life a long time ago in London, England, in a very straightforward, loving Catholic family, going to a girls' school, all the nice things. And as I grew up, I always loved conversations. I was the person that everybody at school came to for conversations. Sounds like I might have been a gossip, but I wasn't. It was just, I loved interacting with people. And as I grew up, I went to university. I met my boyfriend who became my first husband. I saw my life ahead just being, I don't mean just, that sounds bad, but having 4 children like my mum and dad did and staying at home and baking. And it wasn't me. I have 2 amazing, grown up adult children. I had a wonderful 30-year experience with that husband. But I needed more. And I found that I had this spark of wanting to be out there in the facilitation, the training world, the helping other people to be more, and especially women, because I was exploring myself as a woman. Who was I? Was I the same as all my sisters? No. I will get back to that a bit more, but my journey has been to evolve my own sense of passion and purpose and my legacy. So my major legacy is to eliminate bad behavior, because I just think we're wasting time. We're wasting time arguing and getting into fights And this is just not what the world is about. And women are amazing nurturers, and we need to understand ourselves. And I wanted to understand me. So I did have a career in tourism and then in image consultancy. So I learned by doing. So although I did go to university and get a degree, everything else, which is actually the entreprenology side, is learning by doing and being and making mistakes and learning by mistakes and saying, maybe I could have done that better. But one of the major things that my parents taught me was responsibility. They were always saying, you know, my father especially used to say to me, whenever you're going to do something, Pauline, take a role, take a position. You know, if you join a committee, offer to be of service. And I think that's why I'm now president of the Rotary Club of Global Impact, because I hear his voice in my head. He's passed away now, but he's with me in spirit.
There's so much there. Wow. Wow. So, okay. So, what was it specifically, or what was the moment that had you go from I'm leaving tourism image consultancy. I'm out of this marriage now, and I want to move in this direction to, become this leader in this space that is so, needed, so much needed. Was there a moment that something happened that said, I need to be doing this instead?
I think it was I got to be a bit bored about being at home with the kids, especially when kids get to the space where, you know, they're young teens and they're going off to do their own thing. And I thought, well, I actually love dressmaking. So my passion that moved me into the image world was actually that I was a dressmaker. And I was just at that place. It was 1989. The color industry had hit England. And I met a dressmaker who was being a color analyst. And the two came together. And I do believe my philosophy in life is that everything happens for a reason, that you meet people and they take you in a direction. And only later on you look back and say, wasn't that interesting that she was a dressmaker? Because I really didn't like the idea of selling makeup, which is what the color industry was about at the beginning. And so I probably wouldn't have sought it, and I probably wouldn't have gone into that if it hadn't been for her. And then we got to chat about bodies and shapes. And as I started doing that, I thought, wow, there's some patterns here. I could see that I was very angular in my body shape, and I would stand and do things in a very, dare I say, masculine way. And my sisters, who were much softer, who needed different garments, would be more gentle and more feminine. And I was thought, oh, see, I'm a great observer of life. I'm a great observer of conversations. And because I've always sought harmony, I've always thought, well, how does all this difference fit together? And I love geometry at school, so that might sound odd, but it was all about creating maps, which is why I created this map that's sitting behind me. But the main thing that happened in terms of the destiny of my life is that I realized that I needed more than my marriage was bringing me. And it was a very big challenge because I loved family life. I'd been brought up in strong family ethics. But I knew that there was something beyond where I was with him. And to be honest, we'd always been good friends. We'd met at university. So we stayed good friends until sadly he passed away a few years ago. But I also knew that I could be all right on my own. But now I'm actually remarried and I'm actually a Brit in America. So there's another story.
Yeah, your life is so fascinating. And all of that is, it makes a lot of sense. And I see how all the pieces of everything that you've done can tie into this. But speaking of maps, and I see that map behind you, it's called Cracking the Code. Talk to us about that.
Well,
What
again,
is
it came from that time in my life where I was thinking, I don't know, I'm not like all the other women, but there are lots of women like me. So how do I look at that? And then I would look at men. I had two brothers, and I was always very at ease with boys when I was a kid, even though I went to an all-girls school. I was one of the few who had brothers. And I say, oh no, boys are easy. They're my brothers. But I've got a very boyish side to me, what I call a masculine logical side to me. and I would climb trees rather than, make cakes. And I just thought, well, there's a pattern here. So when I thought about cracking the code, it really started with myself. I wanted to crack the code of me. I wanted to know that I'm definitely a woman. I'm a mother and a grandmother. I'm different to other women who are maybe not as naturally logical and masculine as me, and they're more feminine, but we're all female. And that was the guiding thing. And remember, I was a dressmaker, so I understood how clothing went around your body. I could see a piece of fabric and understand it in 3D. And actually, I was looking at why some clothes that I made suited me and others different. And what I learned in my image time was that you are who you are. You're not the same as everybody. We actually have different body shapes. And that means that we stand differently, we act differently, but we're all women. And so when I looked across at men, I thought, well, they have a range of different body shapes as well. And some of them are quite masculine in their energy, and some are very feminine. And I wasn't referring to sexual energy. I was just talking to that more intuitive, gentle, sensitive man. And I started seeing this pattern. And that's really where I decided to put my geometry into this. And I created this based on what I learned in front of me, but also because I needed a map. Now, not everybody will like my map, that's fine. But what I wanted to do was create a world. So if you see that circle, the first promise is everybody is on the map. So some people say to me, oh, I don't think I like your map. I say, that's fine, but you are breathing. So in terms of what I've designed, you're somewhere. And the journey is to find out where you are with regards to other people. Because finding out about yourself, which was my journey, understanding other people was my superpower. And I think because I had a natural interest in people and why people were different to me, I started studying this. So it was also going back into lots of pieces of research. I thought everybody knows Mars and Venus. We as women, we know men are different. If you ask the average audience, men and women different, they will say yes. But the next question is really important because not all men are the same.
Yes.
And not all women are the same. And I remember watching Dr. John Gray talking about Mars and Venus, and he actually does say, there's a certain percentage of the Mars men who are gentle and sensitive. And there was a percentage of the Venus women who are quite logical and tough. And I thought, that's really what it is. I fit into the Venus women who have that logic. And I love straight lines. I stand straight. I can remember facilitating an event which was all men. And it was in the period when we had very sharp shoulder pads, and I had a very severe double-breasted jacket and huge earrings. And when the leader came up to me, he said, all the men are really scared of you. And I said, I was very upset. I said, oh, I don't want them to be. But I realized that from their point of view, I was portraying everything that was sharp and direct and masculine. And they couldn't quite work it out. So I think that's, for me, is the realization of differences. So when I say cracking the code, if you like it, if you were cracking a walnut open to eat what's inside, then it's a lovely taste. But you don't get to it by just putting the walnut in your mouth. You've got to crack it open. So it's actually open. When you open the egg, you open everything. What you're doing is understanding the absolute treasure, the magic inside. And as men and women, we come together with magic. But sadly, there's a lot of unmagic in the world because lots of people are, as you said, we're arguing and we're getting into fighting for equality. And I'm going, I don't think we should fight for equality. I hope you agree with me.
I agree 100%. I think that that's not a fight. I think that magical conversations, which you're going to talk about, being able to communicate in a way that isn't comparing the two. One isn't better than the other. And so many people are misunderstood. So many people are coming from a place of pain, of trauma, of self-protection when they are reacting to things. This is just me. So if we could just all come to the table and let go of who we think we are, whatever those beliefs are. Let's just walk into a conversation with a brand new identity of not having any of that and come from that space. Communication would be a lot better. It would be more fair. It would be more equitable. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that is one of the keys. So before we get to the characters on here, let's just talk about that, because a magical conversation is without judgment. So this is what I've written in my book, is that once we step into a space, and a conversation is in a space. So communication is what we say. But for me, a conversation is within the space. Even on the Zoom call here, the conversation is between us. In a circle of friends, the conversation is in the middle. If somebody hogs the conversation, it's communication. So it's a subtle difference, but the space that you have.
Wait, say that again. If someone hogs the conversation, it's communication. It's no longer conversation. Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
And you see that what's really important, Dan, is the circle. We've lived in a world where men have designed the world on straight lines. And actually, if you had straight lines, we would never have wheels and we'd never have cars. So the circle is really important. If I could, I would change every square boardroom table to a circular table, like King Arthur. Because when you do that, you immediately get everybody's eyeballs to the center of the table. So when somebody takes the major piece of that conversation and they become opinionated and demanding, which they may have to do for some reasons, but if they do, it's not so much a conversation, it's a meeting agenda. So you might have a meeting where somebody does have bullet points and it's urgent and we've got to do this. That's not really a conversation. But when you design a conversation, you're engaging everybody without judgment and without anger. And my third rule is without coercion. So none of that controlling, I need to do it this way, or okay, KPIs, what's going to happen next, all that stuff. So the conversation, a magical conversation, is for seeding respect, seeding ideas, it's seeding trust, it's seeding, oh, I want to be here without my ego. And what I find when I work with this with clients in the corporate world, that it takes a couple of times before people get used to not having their title. But once they leave their ego outside the door, they love the space. So I say to people, leave your ego outside the door. If you want to pick it up on the way out, that's your choice. And that's for men and women. Women, we can get very, occasionally we can get very, I'm in control, I'm going to sort it out, I'm going to fix it. I don't like all men, so I'm going to fix them, all of that stuff. It doesn't get us very far. And if we trust to that space, we get our voice heard because we're using our experience, not our judgment.
That's so powerful. I mean, I have that image of the round table in every meeting room now, and I couldn't agree more. They're especially round, not even oval, round. Because when it's round, there's nobody at the head. I love that so much. Well, in my future, in my endeavors, I see round conference tables in them. That's so powerful. So the cracking the code and the map is everyone is inclusive, right?
Everybody's there.
And the circle is so important. So when someone is hogging the conversation, it's no longer conversation now, it's communication. These are great tips. I hope everybody who's listening or watching this is getting this. This is so powerful. What what are some examples of reactive behavior patterns, and how can we calmly, respectfully, without coercion or any of those negative emotions, I don't want to use the word pivot, but redirect. How can we redirect a conversation?
Absolutely. So somebody always asks me, what happens when somebody's angry in the magical conversation? I say, well, if they become that pivotal focus point, it's no longer a magical conversation. So the facilitator, who's only there to make sure the energy is right, because everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. And I've had this happen to me where somebody has taken over and you go, oh, could I just pause you there? We have the rules. The rules are no judgment, no anger, no coercion. And you say it very calmly. And really, you're not adhering to the rules, and we'd love you to stay, but if you don't respond to the rules, then we'll invite you to go. And we do it very calm. There's no anger space, and everybody might feel a bit nervous around the circle, but it's amazing how when they've been there a few times, they really adhere that, and everybody smiles. There's no anger, and that person usually stays. And it's a huge lesson of understanding, yeah, this is the rules. There might be another meeting where you're allowed to be angry. That's fine. Go away, do that. But the rules of this one is no judgment, no anger, and no coercion. And it's time bound. So for the people who want to do their KPIs and action, you would ring fence it. It might be in the corporate world, it might be 90 minutes, it might be, not longer. If you've got men around the table, men are less less into conversation than women. So you be careful how you manage that. I've done sessions where I've had several conversation topics, and men like that better because they're ring fenced, they're not going endlessly. And I'll get men in the circle going, oh, can I be your timekeeper? So you give people a job. A lot of people don't like conversation because they're nervous, or they're just, they're not into it. So for instance, our male side of the map, you might notice there's a lot of lines on this side of the map here where it says task. So this side of the map is all men. And the word task is very important because men, and from a lot of evidence, Mars and Venus, etc., men are very linear. They in a box, they can think nothing, they do like action. The differences between the two men, we'll talk about in a minute, but their side of the map is very linear. So when they're talking, especially the ruler, who's our masculine-minded man, he likes action rather than conversation. So you might keep an eye on him and think, well, I won't sort of wish on too long, because you're trying to get everybody to be at the table by what you said, honoring who they are.
Yes.
So we know that, I don't know what the numbers are, but women say at least 4 times as many words as men in any day. I can't remember the number, we'd have to look it up, but if men say 20,000 words a day, women say 80,000 words a day.
Wow.
So you've already got a different input when you think about a conversation. Now, when you look at the other side of the map, you'll notice there's a lot more squirrels, there's lots of, because women are very circular and we love to talk and we like to look at ideas and have feelings and emotions. It's not that men don't have emotions, but they tend to keep them within. So what we're doing on our side of the map is we're squirreling lots and lots of things. And generally, we're relational. So women get jobs done through relations, through feelings, through talking. Whereas men often go, oh, I need to do that. And they go away and do it. I had a man on a program who said, oh, I can multitask. So I very calmly said, wow, I said, that's really good. Tell me how you do it. He said, well, I have lots of jobs and I get them all done. I said, well, women get all those jobs done all at the same time and in random order, like we do the proposal and the shopping list, and is my mother-in-law okay? Are the kids doing it? I need to get to the bank. All of that comes into this swirl. Now, men don't do that. And this is one of the first understandings when women say, I'm just going to go and sort men out. I say, well, you can only sort them out based on their linear point of view.
Yes. Yes.
And it really is true that men can think nothing.
So elaborate on that.
Well, when you say to your man, your brother, your husband, whoever it is, that, oh, well, what do you think about that? And you go,
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
And you go, well, you can't think that. You can't think that. Well, actually, they can. There is a lot of evidence that in this compartmentalized brain, men do have the capacity to go into that nothing box, and women don't. I believe that women only get to the nothing box when we meditate deeply.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I would say I actually can do that, and I can think nothing, but I am an avid meditator. So
Absolutely.
yes, that is really the only, I believe you. The only way to really get to that space is to do it. And it's not often, believe me, and it's not for long, but I can sometimes be asked something and I'm like, I am actually not thinking anything right now, So
and that's a very good practice. But men, the thing that's important for women is that men don't understand that women can't do that. They have to make this effort. And
right.
women don't believe men being in the nothing box. So when men say, I don't know, nothing.
Yes.
Just say, okay, darling, I understand.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I don't think the intention is that it's malicious in any way. It's just the differences between the two of us. And I had Dr. John Gray on the show a couple of years ago. It was a fascinating episode. And we have to understand and respect that. And I love this new perspective. First of all, how you're speaking about it, how you're presenting it in such a great way where we can see nobody's right or wrong. Everybody's different, but we're all included in this.
And
So
that's really important when you get to some of the, dare I say, topical issues, which, LGBTQ, race, everything. Everybody is in there. So if we want to get to the table in the middle, which is a circular table, we come with our different questions and we respect that we're all at the table to create harmony. So it's like an orchestra piece. We're the violins and the brass section and the drums. We all come together for that piece. That's the conversation. And as we raise in our awareness and our consciousness, we will become more and more aware of each other. And some of those reactive differences will start to disappear, but they're there when we're not aware. And that's when misunderstandings and arguments start happening, because somebody goes into, well, my way is the right way, the highway. Then we're never going to get to that round table.
you're so true. You're so true. It's interesting, and I can speak from my own experience and what I've observed in my life around me. So, but for me, when pushing up against does not work. It's it is a more relaxed. It's being able to be in the state to really listen and receive and honor and respect the conversation that's coming from the other person. And likewise, same for me with other people too. So yes, this is such powerful work, Dr. Pauline. What would you say is the biggest challenge, either that you've experienced or that you are observing?
I think the biggest challenge is that we've raced on through the last 100 years, getting the vote, getting the women in the boardroom. We know the story. We know the evidence that professional women have equal, if not better, management skills to men. I can dig out the evidence everywhere, but we still have an inequality quite evident, certainly in the corporate world and in many nation worlds, and whatever the influence, women are second, women are put down. I was studying women in many undeveloped countries during the pandemic. And when the chips are down, they go further down for women. So when things are bad for everybody, women get the worst end of the brunt. They don't get funding. They get, you know, extra family demands. They're trying to be single moms or business women. They get the worst end of the spectrum. So this whole goal for equality, which we have got, I feel that we've got all the right pieces. Now we have to re-strategize and say, right, half the world is female. This is the idea of joint custody. Half the world is female. We've got all these different talents. Is it just that we don't understand each other? First step. Second is, do we want to change the way things are? So if we always go back to the old model of profit motive, hierarchy, men being in charge, and try and change it, then we're always battling. Whereas if we say, well, there's a different version, and this is where, in a way, the entreprenology comes in, is it more circular? It involves the family. It allows for community involvement. I mean, hybrid working and being in the lockdown and hybrid working has brought that into light, but we still don't always value the fantastic contribution that women can make, even when they're having babies. You know, we know that that is a female occupation, having babies. What we want is men to understand that a woman-centric journey is different to a man-centric journey. And we have a business world that's been designed on the straight lines of male business. And now it needs to be different because economies need our imagination, our ability to use AI, do different things, work in different ways. I'll give you a lovely story. There was a female who, she worked at, I can't remember what the company was, but she was really, really good. She loved her work. She had baby number 1 and she came back and they allowed lots of flexibility. And then she had baby number 2. And although they allowed flexibility, she just didn't feel that it was going to be the right balance. So she farewelled to this company. In her nighttime, she set up a business where she had a list of women who wanted to work just 2 or 3 hours here and there because they were like her and had been. She had an amazing multi-billion-dollar business in the end because she would embrace the employees and say, look, you need really good people. You just won't have them all the time. You'll have them 3 hours on Thursday and 2 hours on Friday, but they'll be really good and devoted when they're there. And they said, yep. So this is the thinking that relates to business, where we put life into business. I've always said that since women came into the workplace, they bring life into work. Whereas men, you know, they made the money and then took it home.
Yes, that is so powerful. We do put life into business, as it should be.
As it should be. That's where the conversation with men has to be on a win-win basis. So let's just look at the characters, because then we can understand where, if we like, and it's very simple complexity. So the simplicity of it, that, you know, this side of the map is male, straight lines, but the ruler is positive masculinity in the male. So he's very bullet point and very in a box. My son is this, so I love him to pieces. But when he's not in the box that I want to talk in, he doesn't want to talk. He likes to be topic centric. So rulers are often topic centric. So if they've got an agenda, you have to work into the agenda. The philosopher, I always say, is like my Nelson Mandela. He's a thinker, feeler, servant leader, but he's still working on straight lines. He'll ask more questions. So the ruler is saying, when are we going to get this done? The philosopher is saying, why are we doing this? And he's asking lots more questions. He's got in a degree of feminine energy, which is his intuition and sensitivity. So he'll probably talk with women more easily than he might talk with the ruler. But the caveat is that they're both men. And actually, when they work together, they are a fantastic partnership. And you can see that in, say, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak.
Yes. Yes, very much.
You need the ideas, bullet point action, and then you need the man who says, right, I understand this maleness, but I'm going to support it with intuition and emotion.
Yeah.
So those are two men, and they're not personalities. These are archetypes. So not all rulers will be the same because they might be different sexualities, there might be different nations, races, ages. But the attribute is that the ruler's saying 1, 2, 3, when, and the philosopher's saying why. Come and talk to me. And I philosophers say I rule by asking why. So the ruler will say, I rule by asking when.
We got a question in here from Patty. How do you feel about the idea that until women, political, religious, stay-at-home mothers, get on board, will remain less than in some men's minds? I think what she's saying is that all women need to get on board with this.
Absolutely. And I love the question. I know Patty very well. And we spent lots of time talking about life of the universe when we were in California. I do feel that that one of the dangers is that we place another label over when we say, oh, women in politics or women in this and that. And then it's like only 2% of the boardroom CEOs in the world are women. That's really low, when you're talking about the corporate world. So we place certain expectations on them. When a woman behaves really badly in pole position, she gets a lot more stick than a man does. And I mean, that in a way is unfair. That's why I think we need to change the conversation as well as the players. So the conversation for me needs to be about heart-centered business. How do we really get honest with each other, authentic with our employees, with our customers? It's not all just about profit. It makes a different route to market.
This is amazing. Dr. Pauline, it's been so fantastic having you. We just have a couple minutes left, and I wanted to ask you a question that we ask all our guests, which is, how do you live the I have today way, which is intentionally in the present moment? And if you wouldn't mind, will you start your sentence with, I have today too?
Well, I have today the huge global intention that we get to understand our absolute magnificent, beautiful differences between men and women and different types of men and women, because everything we need to know is here in our hearts. And we sometimes need to step away and look at that circle and say, I'm part of this and I love it.
Beautifully said. So beautiful. Wow. Well, I know that we have your book. Team, if we could show an image of the book, can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. In this book is really the philosophy of my life, how I understood the idea of magical conversations. It makes reference to the gender dynamics intelligence, which this is about. But the next book will be more deep into this. This map here, the actual drawing is new. But in the book, you will find an understanding of the principles, what happens when we value ourselves. This is really important. We have to value ourselves in order to value our relationships. We can't create a better world if we don't understand ourselves or our relationships. That's what the world is about. So don't externalize your control at all. Take it inside. So the book is about the magical conversation formula and the idea of positive masculinity and positive femininity. And read this first and then watch out for the next book, which is coming soon.
It is so fantastic. Okay. And we are going to have a link to that book for everyone who's interested in purchasing it. That's wonderful. So, Dr. Pauline, how can people find out more information about you?
Well, I'm very broad across social media. So I'm on LinkedIn as Pauline Crawford. I have 2 different pages on Facebook. So Dr. Pauline Crawford and Pauline Crawford, I think. But you'll find me. And I'm also there at Corporate Heart International. I am on Instagram and Twitter. That's it for social media. But
Yes.
I am available. I live in Las Vegas. I'm sure if you need to find me, you will find me.
Well, I found you. We've been connected for years, but this has been so wonderful for us to reconnect. And I'm so grateful for your work and your heart and your mission and your visions. They're so powerful. And it's all about harmony and creating magical conversations.
Yes,
And
all
we are,
about
yeah. So I'm excited. I am definitely going to get your book and dig into this work even more. And I just absolutely love everything that you're up to. So I want to thank you so much for being here and spending time with us at I Have Today.
It's been absolutely stunning, and we'll have to have a revisit, and then we'll look at the female archetypes. That will be the trick next time.
We will definitely do that. That sounds wonderful. All right. Well, we will see you next time. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Bye. She's so fantastic. Oh my gosh. I have pages of notes here, you guys. She's just so wonderful. So it's about having magical conversations. It's about letting go of judgment, anger, and coercion, not letting them in the space. We're going to get ready to do a mantra meditation where I'm going to integrate everything that she talked about today so that you could leave here feeling more empowered, inspired in your life right now through everything that you learned today. Let's let it really integrate. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about an opportunity to learn about TV hosting. If you like what I'm doing here and you want your own platform, there has never been a better time, especially with what's happening in the current situation in the entertainment industry. This is a way for you to create a platform that not only lives on forever, is amazing, you own your content too. So take a listen to this video right now to learn how you can attend my free masterclass to learn to see if TV hosting is right for you. So take a listen right now. Hey there. Do you want to become a TV host and earn 5, 6, even 7 figures in your business, even if you have no experience? Listen, if you're a woman professional and entrepreneur and you help women solve a major life or business challenge with the work that you do, then this is for you. If that's not you, feel free to click skip. But if that is you, then pay very close attention because what I'm about to share in this video has the power to transform your life and your career. Hi, I'm Diane Forster. After 20 years at ABC TV and hosting my own TV show for the last 5 years, I've made millions of dollars in my career, won multiple awards, appear all over national media and big stages, all because I have a TV show. I'm not spending all day doing marketing strategies that just don't work. I'm using the power of one brilliant TV show to do the work for me, and I'm teaching my clients how to do it. Now, the strategy works so well, we've been able to quickly help women just like you launch their own brilliant TV shows, streamline their marketing efforts, and generate more income and impact. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to check out this presentation right now. Just click the link below under this video. You'll be taken to this sign-up page where you get a 24-hour pass to watch the presentation. Now take a look at Alexis Johnson. She was struggling with her marketing and in her business on how to effectively reach her right market. She put these strategies into place and launched her first show in just 30 days. Not only that, she generated $25,000 in revenue before she even launched. Now here's Megan Benson. She was also struggling with trying to be too many places and was getting nowhere. And she had no experience in TV at all. She followed the strategies and her new game show, Get in the Game, is premiering on ABC in Santa Barbara. So again, click the link and go to the sign-up page for your 24-hour pass. Then sit down, get something to take notes with, and watch this masterclass because this has the power to change your life. Now, it doesn't matter what niche you're in. You absolutely can and should have a TV show. This works for you, even if you have no experience, or you don't have a lot of time, or you don't even know how to start. You need to click this link now and learn how TV hosting can totally change your career and life. Click the link, sign up, and I'll see you there. All right, so be sure to go to our link, which is tvstarhost.com, tvstarhost.com, and register for my free masterclass and learn some of the keys, some of the shifts that you could make in your business, how creating a TV show and creating an asset that belongs to you could really, really help you and enhance your career, your brand, your authority, your credibility. So tvstarhost.com. All right, so as we get ready to wrap up, it's time for our mantra meditation, and we have just a few minutes to do this right now, so I'm excited to do it. If you are driving, obviously do not close your eyes. You can listen, but don't close your eyes. For everybody else, take a break. Stop what you're doing. Put down your devices, don't multitask, and just listen to these words that I'm going to say to you for just these few minutes. All right. So, what I want you to do, here's what we're going to do. We're going to close our eyes. We're going to breathe in for the count of 4 and pull that air all the way down to your tailbone, your root chakra. And then we're going to count to 8 and hold it. And as we're counting to 8, we're going to send energy to all 8 of our chakras, including our soul star, which is above our head, off body, right? And then we're going to blow it out for 8 seconds, like getting rid of anything toxic, negative, trauma, emotions. Just push it all right out. 2 breaths. We're going to do that 2 times, and then you just listen to my words. So here we go. Close those eyes. Breathe in for the count of 4. Hold it as we count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And blow it out for 8. Should feel really good. We're going to do that one more time. Here we go. Breathe in for 4. Pull it all the way down and hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And blow it out for 8. Just listen to my words. I have today to love my life. Something really good is going to happen to me today. I can feel it. Miracles, big and small. I notice them all. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. I have today to have better, more magical conversations. I've been enlightened today, and I have a new awareness of the differences between men and women and some of these old paradigms. And I can see now why everyone in the world is included in this beautiful map, and that there is no leader, no one ahead, none of that. There's just bad communication. And if we have a better understanding of our archetypes, and we realize that we can start having conversations that follow the 3 rules, the rules of no judgment, of no anger, of no coercion, and keep it fair and respectful and honorable, then we can start having enriched, magical conversations, just like Dr. Pauline Crawford teaches, as she is the conversation game changer. This is a new world, and times are very, very different. And we have to put our life into our business. And women are naturally better at that than men. It's just breaking the old patterns. A woman's journey in through this century is different than a man's, but she's as capable and as qualified to contribute in her unique ways. It's dependent on what our archetype is, and we have to learn how to communicate cohesively together to be honorable and respectful for all of it. We can make these changes. We can do it today. And not just in the business setting, which, yes, it's so important, but in all areas of our lives. And I'm going to choose today to live in that harmony, like Dr. Pauline does, and be an observer like she is, and be inquisitive, and decide that on this day and each day forward from this moment on, I am going to create harmonious, beautiful, magical conversations. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to thank Dr. Pauline Crawford for being here today. You've been an extraordinary guest on this show, so outstanding. I hope you all get her book. Make sure to follow her. She is everywhere. We are going to have everything in the show notes. And I want to thank you for being here. You mean the world to me, and the show is nothing without you. I'm going to continue to bring you incredible guests like Dr. Pauline Crawford and the opportunity for you to be living to your highest, greatest, fullest potential by being intentional with your life, living the I Have Today way. So that's it for today. Take care. I will see you next time. Love you madly. Bye-bye.